So the only thing wrong with this is that if you then, so say I put in a load of tasks and then I closed the app and then I went off and did one of the tasks and then I came back to this app, my tasks have gone, which isn't great. So we don't want our list to be disappearing every time we close the app. So what we need to do is we need to be able to save that data. So there are lots of different ways you can save data in an Android application. Okay, so these are the main ways. You can have app-specific storage where you store that within your app. You can have a shared storage, so files that your app intends to share with other apps. You can have a preferences storage, and you can have a database. There's lots of different methods in order to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a file within our app where we can store our list data. And we're going to use some of these functions. So you need to create another activity. So yeah, sorry, not an activity, I need the Java class. We're going to call it file helper. Okay, so in our file helper, we're going to have a public static final string name for our file. Okay, so if you just put file name in caps, because this is just a generic data file, I'm just going to call it list info. Okay, so we're going to have two methods, public methods in this Java class. One of them is going to be for writing data to our file, and one of them is going to be reading data from our file. So we can call the first one write data. And we want our array list to be written to our data file. I'm just going to call that items. And of course, we'll need context. Okay, so because this is public, this can be called in any of our other Java files. So we need a file output stream and an object output stream. And then we're going to write our array list to our object output stream. Okay, so you're going to get an error, and then it was going to ask you to add a exception codes to your try. So what this basically means is if you try this and you get this exception, then do this instead. It's kind of good practice to do catch clauses, especially when there's data retrieval involved. Okay. Okay, and we do the same for our read method. Actually, not void. So the output of our read method is going to be the array list, of course. So we need to put that rather than void. Okay, so we're going to set an initial value of null for our array list this time, which seems a little bit unconventional, but basically, if there is no file, then we want it to come out as null, so then we can then assign it to a new array list. So this time we want an object input stream, not an output stream, because we're sending data into our file. Okay. And again, we need to add catch clauses to our try statements. Okay, and because we stated that the output of our method is going to be an array list, we need to put a return function in. So return items. Okay. Also, if we don't have any data in our file, what we do want to happen is for our array list item to not be null, but to be an empty and array list. So what we're going to do to make sure we don't get the error that we got earlier, okay, So that looks good. Okay, so what we need to do now is in our main activity, instead of assigning a new array list or blank array list at the beginning, we need to initialize our array using that read data method. Just do it here. So equals file helper dot read data. The context could be this. Equally, any updates that we do to our array list inside the app need to then update our file helper data. So down here we can use our write data method in order to input the updated version of the to-do list. Okay, and we'll have to do the same in our list adapter because we do update our list from inside our list adapter when we click our done button. So same thing. Okay. So again, I'm just going to test it on my mobile. Check that everything works smoothly and how we want it to. Okay, so hopefully now if I close the app, my data is still there. Equally, if I've ticked off something, reopen it, and it saved my data. Okay, so we finished the app functionality, so it works how we want it to. The next video is all about updating the UI, so you can do that however you want. You can change the background color, you can change the way the buttons look, you can make the text bigger and make it look really nice. So yeah.